Oh? Michael pretended to be surprised and said, You want to compete with me? Everyone else, including the members of the rock climbing club, were astonished when Jacob challenged Michael. Jacob didn't say anything more. He just stared at Michael. Get him set up! Michael ordered his vice captain, clenched his fists, and said to Jacob, If you want to play, let's play. The vice captain immediately got to work and harnessed Jacob, obeying Michael's orders. Although Jacob had challenged their captain, the guy was careful when it came to all the safety precautions, since it was a matter of life and death. With an angry expression on his face, Jacob spread his arms for the harness silently. On the other hand, several girls, especially the popular ones from the club, surrounded Michael and put the harness on him, which made the other guys in the audience jealous. Kathy, who was standing right in the front of the crowd, hesitated for several seconds before walking over. Jacob, don't compete with him. It is too dangerous, she said. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Seeing concern on Kathy's face, Jacob tried to reassure her. Rock climbing is a dangerous sport. Michael is a professional, and you have never even tried it before. You will put yourself in grave danger if you act rashly. Kathy tried to dissuade him while shaking her head in disagreement. She was concerned not only because Jacob was her classmate, but also... Kathy, don't interfere. If his mental state is disturbed because of your discouragement, there will be a higher probability of accidents occurring. If that happens, you may need to take responsibility for the accident, Michael said to Kathy as he buckled up his harness. His words sounded well-intentioned, but they caused Kathy to worry even more. It would be far too easy for him to make anything look like an accident here. This was his turf, after all. She glanced at Jacob with concern and looked at Ryan and his friends, wishing they would join her efforts in stopping him. But the truth was that the guys would never back off from a challenge, even if they were too afraid. And in this case, Jacob had declared the challenge himself, and all the boys had enough pride to not stop him from moving forward. Kathy, just wait and watch. I'll be fine. Jacob felt touched because of Kathy's concern, but he wasn't going to quit, and he didn't have the time to keep reassuring her. He was still burning with rage. He felt the bracelets on his wrists getting heavier, but right now he was too fueled up to let them slow him down. Feeling resigned, Kathy looked at her older brother, Kyle, who towered over the crowd. Right now, he was watching the whole thing without an ounce of emotion and in complete silence. The competition is about to begin. For safety reasons, everyone please move back a little and watch from outside the boundary. One of the members of the club walked over and ushered Kathy and a few others away from the wall. The competition was about to begin when Ryan suddenly rushed closer to the wall and said, We will act as the belayers for Jacob. We don't trust you guys. Ryan was quite dominating among the sophomore guys. Several friends of Jacob followed suit and rushed in. After witnessing Sam's failure a few moments ago, they lost trust in the members of the rock climbing club. They'd rather keep the rope in their own hands. The club members had no choice but to walk over and demonstrate how to control the rope and what to do if the climber fell. Finally, Ryan and two other guys, who were the strongest among them, were left on site to be Jacob's belayers while the rest were asked to watch from outside. After the competitors were all set, the vice captain walked to the rock climbing wall and raised his stopwatch. Ready! Go! He shouted. Jacob and Michael put their hands on the rock climbing wall and began climbing at once. At this stage of rock climbing, a few seconds of difference at the beginning was not a big issue. The critical point was who could make it to the summit. Even if the competitors could all reach the top, there would be a difference of minutes between the first place and the second place. On the 15-meter rock climbing wall, Jacob was to the left of Michael, and they each chose their own route. Michael was very deft and climbed 3 meters in a short time. Although the positions of the holds were changing due to different levels of difficulty, he, as the captain of the rock climbing club, was quite familiar with these holds and knew the best route to the top. In contrast, Jacob was climbing steadily with his hands and feet tightly positioned on the holds, and his grip was firm. He wasn't dressed professionally like Michael, but he was steady and took a smart route choice. This made the students, even those who didn't know him, admire him a little. "Who's this guy? It was pretty bold of him to challenge the captain of the rock climbing club." "He's one of the closest friends of the guy who just fell. I guess he's doing this for his friend. Don't you know that he's the guy who defeated Michael in the long-distance race in the school's athletic games?" The students in the crowd began to talk among themselves. Hearing the comments around her, Kathy continued being nervous as she observed Jacob. Her fingernails cut into her palms, and her heart was in her throat. She had been so worried only once before, when Jacob fought the basketball team. "This guy would surely give me a heart attack one day," she thought, while praying for his safety. By now, Michael had climbed half of the distance, while Jacob was only half a meter below him. The crowd was watching the match very keenly, not sure who to support. Both of them looked like professional athletes to untrained eyes. Michael had slowed down. After each step, he would pause to rest for several seconds while leaning against the wall. In a rock climbing race of this level, one needed steadiness, excellent techniques, and sound mental fitness to reach the top, and Michael had all of those. Jacob continued climbing steadily. He would calculate his route before making several moves. His heightened dragon senses were really helping him keep up with a pro like Michael. "This guy's stamina is terrifyingly good," Michael thought as he looked down at Jacob, who was only half a meter lower than him. He recalled the last time they were pitted against one another at the athletic games. He felt enraged as he remembered how humiliating it was to lose to a mere sophomore like him. He was now all the more determined to show Jacob his real place this time around. He wanted to prove that Jacob had only been lucky the last time, and he wasn't better than Michael. From a professional viewpoint, Jacob's choices of holds were not excellent. They were energy-consuming and challenging to reach. Despite that, Jacob was still closely following his competitor. Looking up at the remaining 8 meters, he inhaled deeply and resumed climbing cautiously. If he made a mistake and fell, the lucky sophomore would win the competition. He had just grabbed another hold above him when Jacob suddenly signaled to his belayers that he was going down. Michael smirked arrogantly and thought, "He has finally exhausted his strength." He silently mocked, "Well, you are just average. Even though you were lucky enough to win against me in that one race, there's no way you can beat me in rock climbing." Seeing Jacob's hand gesture, Ryan and the other 2 belayers immediately slacked the rope and pulled Jacob down. "I'm not finished. You go on climbing." Back on the ground, Jacob raised his head and yelled when he saw that Michael's belayers also wanted to loosen the rope. Jacob murmured some words and took the silver bracelets off his wrists. He bent down and put them on the ground. Carrying 110 pounds on his arms while rock climbing was not an easy task. Besides, due to his bad mood, the burden on his arms seemed to have grown another 100 pounds or so. He remembered that Susan told him that he could take those bracelets off for 2 hours every day. Till now, he had not felt the need to remove them and had gotten quite used to the weight. But this time, he needed his full strength and couldn't have the extra weight pulling him down. Seeing Jacob casually going down just to remove 2 bracelets caught Michael off guard, and he stood still, looking down. He forgot that he could climb further and gain an advantage over Jacob. As he swung his arms to relieve the tension, Jacob walked towards the wall once again.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.